apologies. I'll start this in the beginning. I think I messed up like the episode number in the last podcast. I was editing it and I'm like, oh crap! Like the episode number I came out with was like totally wrong. It was like one or two off. So we're getting up there. I think today's 88. I think last week was 87. So we're almost at our 90th episode. So what, it's crazy. It's like people ask me like people have been asking like, how long have you had the podcast out? Like, and I'm like, oh crap, like it's been over 2 years now, right? Or it's gonna be 2 years in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like when I don't know if it's like just me and Roman, please say something if it's the totally opposite, but like once you get to like almost 90, like you start forgetting a lot of like things. We've came out with a lot of content, researched a lot of content, and then on top of our normal lives and our like work life, then that's it's a lot of content. Let's just say that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, I'm just going to say 100, episode 100 for the next 12 episodes.
Episode
I'm going
100.
to be right one of these times.
Hey, episode 100. And it just happens. It just it's all the content. Oh, and also too. Well, I made a post today on Instagram. About like my back, like because to cue up this episode, like Roman made a video with like the lateral, like the lat movement and whatnot, and then I did one, which was like unilateral, with just one arm. But I posted that video like on Friday. I don't know if this happened to you. Comment below on YouTube or like send us a DM. But like I don't know if it's just me, but like I swear I have the worst like Instagram problems ever. Like. Dude, I edited. One time I edited like a full video, and then like I was trying to be like modern and try to make like a reel. So I edited, made like, and then I went through like the editing for reels, which I've never done before. And I've seen them. I know what reels are on Instagram, and then it doesn't post. And then so I do it again. I edit it, make a caption, I make it pretty dope, and then like I do like a regular post, doesn't upload. And like I like turned my phone off, turned it back on, and then like that's why it took me so long to get back like do that post, because like I was getting sick of it. Like I don't know if anyone's ever had that problem besides me, but like I don't know, you ever just get to a point where you just like edit something like twice, three times, and you're just like, seriously, like I can't keep doing this. So yeah.
I've been there before, buddy. I feel ya.
But no, so Sam and I went to Cali this past weekend for Labor Day weekend. It was fun. Honestly, I passed Joshua Tree on the way from Arizona. Nice. Yeah.
Did you get to go in? Isn't that cool?
No, I didn't. We didn't, because of traffic and whatnot. It was like almost 6.5 hours. It was like 6 hours and 40 minutes just to go to LA from Arizona by the Phoenix area. But I passed Palm Springs. I passed Joshua Tree. Nice. So we passed all that like on the way to California, because Arizona's here, California's there. I think LA might be a little northwest, so it's just like a little. It's like straight west, but probably just a little bit north. It was pretty nice. The drive was actually interesting. It's like crazy. It's like you go through desert, and then boom, like. You could see grass. You could see, like metropolitan areas, because LA is so like spread out with metropolitan. I wouldn't say it's like a big city like New York, Chicago, maybe I've never been to Boston or New York, so I might be wrong. But like when I think of like Boston, New York, and Chicago, like it's a lot more like interlocked in the big city, and it's just like a lot of big city. And then like LA is like, here's big city, but there's like city all around. It's like a suburb city pretty much. That's how I think of like LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was beautiful. Stayed on the beach, relaxed, chilled. Didn't work out. Worked out when I got back on Monday, but yeah, it didn't work out. I worked out before we left, and then it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then, yeah, worked out Friday and then Monday. And then
That's awesome, buddy.
Hopefully you can get Roman out here in October. But that'll be fun. We'll hopefully get some content too if we can get Roman out here. But that's a TBD.
That'd be awesome, buddy. Yeah.
Or I think you're sure about it, but it's TBD still. You gotta make sure everything's right. But
I actually just got the gift card from AAA today for like Southwest Airlines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be nice to get like content for there. And then did you guys see Roman's post? You got it, buddy. You got your PR. Honestly, I know you like apologize for it, but I was loving like how you're like going through things. Roman looked like he had a little bit of free time on his Labor Day weekend.
I did,
which is nice. It was like fun to see like you at raw and uncut form. But how about you tell us like how the PR felt? Give us like the short story. Like how did the PR felt before? How did you feel coming into that, during that, after that? And then whatever else you want to say.
Heck yeah. I don't remember if that was like Saturday or Sunday. It was one of those mornings. I woke up and I was feeling like pretty amped.
Yeah.
I usually only do like the 1 cup of coffee, but I was like, I'm gonna do a half a cup of coffee, which is like a lot for 1.5 cups. So I like swing back a half a cup, and then I'm like, oh, this would be a silly video if I like make like a recipe for how to like PR your lifts. So I like Laura and I have been really into just as like a little snack here and there, sour Mike and Ike's. So I like count out exactly 16 of them on a plate. And I'm like, all right, Gainz Nation, here's how you get a PR on your incline bench. You suck down a half a cup of coffee, and I show the empty cup of coffee. And then I show the plate with 16 individual Mike and Ike's. And then I just like throw them all in my mouth and like, run over to the gym. And I was pretty pumped. I was like feeling really good. And I think I even had like one more in me. Got like the 5th rep. So I'm like, my goal is still like 185 by 8. So I still have a while to go, but like I was stuck at a plateau of 180 by 4 pretty much since I started this program. Let's see, back in June, I think, maybe July, June or July. I was hitting like 185 by 4, 180 by 4, 180 by 4, 185 by 4, 180 by 4. I like just could not jump above that for my top set. So that was really cool to have that happen. And I didn't want it to be like.
Did you do any warm-ups or workouts before the lift, or what about that?
Yeah, definitely. So it's about 10 to 15 minute walk, depending on how fast I go from the apartment. So obviously you get a little warm from that. I think it was a moderately warm day, probably like high 70s, low 80s here in Chicago. So typically I'll do like a general warm up, like shoulder rolls, that kind of thing. I might do like a couple of like push-ups, nothing crazy. Like I might work up to like a set of 10 push-ups, like really, really like staying far away from failure. And I could probably do like 50 push-ups in a whack before I hit failure. So staying very, very far away from failure. Just trying to warm up the tissues. I'll do some like more specific type movements. Like I will like just like incline press just the bar. One thing that I did do so that I could sort of like game the system is I took advantage of what's called like antagonist, agonist, like synergistic sets. So before I started warming up on incline, I took some really light dumbbells, like 20-pound dumbbells, and just like bent over, held on to like the table. And then it was just like really like holding the contraction to like engage the lats, kind of like wake them up. Then I jumped right into doing the incline. Just did like the open bar for like 10, 15 reps. Then I did 135 by I think 3 reps. Rested maybe like 3 or 4 minutes because at that point I was like sufficiently sweating. I had like a little like drop of sweat. So my core temperature was at the like the place where I wanted it to be. The local tissue was like also warm. I warmed it up, and also like primed the movement, like primed the neural pattern, if you will. And then through the 180 on the bar, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Got that fifth one, racked the heck out of it, and just pretty much partied from there.
And he actually, in the uncut version of that video, he actually he did a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Someone threw 2 beers right at him, and he popped them open and was just chugging them.
Oh, I thought you were going to say stunner, though.
Yeah, or after he chugged those 2, he stuttered the person who actually threw it to him. That name will be not disclosed at this time. They're actually going through like a little lawsuit. The gym's got it recorded on video. It's a long story. Roman won't get into it lately, but Roman's here. The guy's still alive barely, because Roman stone cold stunnered his ass so hard. But yeah, no, dude, that's awesome, man. I am jealous. My chest is in there right now because of that shoulder injury. I got up to 60-pound dumbbells.
Heck yeah.
So there's Sam again in the background, but yeah, I got to 60-pound dumbbells for I think like 8 to 10 reps. I think it was honestly probably 10 reps. I can't really think of it right now. But I've just been going slow, controlled, keeping the elbows tucked, and then just concentrating on like contracting the chest. I've been using mostly hypertrophy methods for my chest right now, just because I don't want to really push any limits. I honestly don't know. Maybe by the end of the year, I'll try to be some strength numbers like Roman. But like I said, it's not really a goal of mine. I'm just trying to get like the muscles back and acclimated to like the chest workouts, because it'll be. You know what? You'd be surprised on how weird a dumbbell chest press feels after like 2.5 months of not doing it. It feels really awkward, but everything else has been really good though. Like my bicep work is like really strong. My tricep work is strong. The shoulder work is coming together. Like I said, I'm only doing like seated, like single arm arm presses. I'm not even doing military press. I'm not doing shoulder like barbell presses at all. So I'm gonna start doing them again, just not right now. Mostly focusing on like deadlift and squats because it's fun, and then everything else is kind of in between. And then Roman, also too, we could probably go into the subject. What you said was perfect. Roman said, once he hit 135 for reps, I think you said 3 reps when you're warming up. You waited like 3 or 4 minutes. I was actually watching. I know we bring his name up, but I was watching Mike Isertel. He had that Olympic weightlifter, the guy who could squat like 600 pounds, pretty much.
That was awesome. I saw that this morning.
Yeah, and he quickly noted like, like obviously we're not trying to sit here and kill these folks. Like we're not trying to sit here and like, have them not recover between each sets. But like. He was mentioning like take all the time you need between sets. Obviously, don't wait like 10, 15 minutes between sets. Like that's a little crazy. Unless you're doing something, I don't know why you'd ever wait 10, 15 minutes, unless you had like an important call, or you had to run to the bathroom, because of other reasons. And I'm not going to explain why. You could just make the guess right there. But
it does happen though. It does happen.
Yeah, it does. But like, he was mentioning like he went into it before he went to the video. Like he like mentioned like, yeah, if you need like 2-3 minutes so you can get your fully breath, you can feel the strength in your muscle again, that's like when you should be prepared to go. Because 2 things to note, like you don't want to go into like the next set of incline press and you're still breathing pretty heavy. That wouldn't be good. Or also, you're just so like mentally fatigued or like tired, because you didn't wait like another minute. That's the limiting factor. Wasn't like your chest, your shoulders, and triceps. It was just like you're pretty much like wiped. You obviously you want to take those factors in like a whole total of like thought when you're lifting and whatnot. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, Roman, because I did want to kind of bring something like that up anyway. So I'm glad that you were like specific about like, oh yeah, I waited like 3 to 4 minutes before the 180. Like, it's totally fine. So
Yeah.
and you didn't feel weaker, right? You didn't feel weaker. It was just you preference and
it's so funny because it's like that like old school like mentality of like if you want to do hypertrophy work, you like only wait 90 seconds in between sets. Like, will I do that still? Yeah, absolutely. Especially if I'm like crunched for time for some bicep stuff. Like, do I do that? Yeah. Is it like ideal? No, honestly, like my biceps actually need more. They need more time than that. Like if I'm really like if it's the last week of a meso, like before I do a deload, I'm gonna push as hard as I absolutely can. I push so hard on biceps sometimes that like there's like neuromuscular fatigue. Like my body will actually shake. My body will shake from like going like up to failure and sometimes like beyond on curls. So it's like should you do that every time? No, that's very inappropriate. Like most people would not be able to like survive doing that all the time. And I push really, really hard in my programming. Like I oftentimes will go to failure probably more than like I plan to, just because I really like to train that way. But at the back of my mind, and also I have to be willing to accept the risks that like if I'm not like super dialed in with my form, etc., then like I might be exposing myself to greater injury risk by doing that. So just something to keep in mind. It's okay if your goal was like more in the endurance area and you're doing like HIIT, like HIIT training. Like that's totally fine to have like shortened rest periods. If like let's say you're doing like a barbell bench and then some sort of like a squat to like wall ball like combo for like a CrossFit type thing, totally fine. But if your goal was to like get up your incline bench or your bench press as much as possible, like it's totally okay to rest as long as you need. And then also depending on your rest period, that can also be indicative of your other like metrics of like health and also like the different kinds of like kind of like assessments of like where you are in the gym. So for example, like if I hit that really hard set of incline bench and I needed to rest like 5-7 minutes before I hit it again because I was just like out of breath the whole time, I should start like thinking like, okay, maybe my cardio is crap because like, yes, I did push really close to failure. Yes, like it was a really hard set, but like for a set of like even squats, like if it's taking me like greater than 5 minutes to recover, then I'm starting to think to myself, like, I want to like increase my like cardiorespiratory health. So I might need to just do like some more like planned cardio sessions throughout the week so that I can make sure that I can dedicate more to my hypertrophy work as well.
Yeah, Roman's like, man, I am feeling PHAT.
Yeah.
But you know what? Also, too, like real quickly, I know we're always getting ahead of ourselves with every topic, but that's why I like using a fitness watch. Obviously I currently use an Apple Watch. I've had Fitbits in the past. And my brother uses the Garmin the Garmin Forerunner, I believe it's called, like FORE, not like FOUR, because he's more of a runner, and we actually bought it for him for Christmas. So like, we wanted to get him like a fitness watch. But honestly, during my sets, because I record like my workouts and I keep track of that stuff. Not only that, I track like my breath and like my fatigue. I also track like my beats per minute. I mean, obviously it's not 100% accurate, but like, it's sitting on my, my left wrist. So it's not 100% accurate, but like, I know if I'm hitting like 168 beats per minute, maybe I shouldn't go into the next set until like, I get my breath right, I get my calmness right a little bit. And, it gets closer to like maybe 100 beats per minute where, it's still up there, but it's not to the point where I'm like, go, 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 go. And like my heart rate's like here. Because also too, that's probably not good for your heart muscle, because the fact that you're just putting that strenuous work on it. Obviously, like if you're athletic and you're doing these things, like obviously you kind of take note of that. But another thing is maybe you look at your fitness watch. I know Fitbit, Apple, Garmin, they all have that aspect on their watches. So just keep a lookout. So yeah, make sure that that's like another thing that I look at too during sets, especially if they're harder sets. Like, obviously I probably put in a lot more like, beats per minute when I'm on the hack squat, because like, I'm almost going close to failure. It's like almost like a full body workout, and it's just overall like a lift that just like, it blows like my cardio out. Like by the end of, because like yesterday, let's just say like my yesterday workout, I did deadlifts and then hack squats. I'm only on my second set or my second workout, and my shirt's already soaked to the T. Like I'm already done with my, I have like a 32-ounce water container, and I'm already finished that. I put a little salt in it too, just to hydrate a little bit more, because I know my leg days are so brutal. So I know like, but by the time I'm done with all that water and I'm on hack squats, like I like with my working sets with hack squats, like I know I need to wait a little bit longer, because the fact that each set is draining. It's not like I do a ton of sets, but I know like each set's draining, where I shouldn't keep draining the water bottle until it's empty, as like my body, for that reference, pretty much. And then I still have other workouts to do after the hack squat. So, but yeah, at this episode, we'll get into it, but we're talking about like unilateral work. So single like arm, single leg work. What's like the benefits, what's the negatives about it, and how you can use it in your training. So Roman, I'm going to give you the reins for this one to start it off. What do you want to kind of talk about today with like unilateral work, and like how do you put in your training? What do you see the benefits? Where do you see like the negative stuff out of this too as well?
Yeah, I think we'll probably like bump up to time, so we might want to like cover this in more detail next week.
Yeah. But I mean, we can if you want, but we can just maybe do a starter.
Yeah. Kind of like a teaser is what I was thinking for
because we only have like 7 minutes. Yeah, we have like 7 minutes out.
So like one thing that and I'll focus much more on this next week, but I want to talk a little bit about like the bilateral deficit, which you like may or may not have ever heard about before. So we'll talk about that a little bit more next week. What I do want to talk about is using unilateral work versus bilateral work. So what the heck is that, first of all? So let's look at the leg extension for isolating the quads, for example. Unilateral work would just be using the right leg to lift up the pad or lift the weight. And then bilateral work is using both of your legs to lift it up. So oftentimes when we do curls, it's going to be unilateral, unless you have a fixed bar. Bilateral with both hands. So one of the benefits that I think of if you are used to just doing like bilateral work and switching to unilateral work is assessing what your like individual strength is. Not that it's super duper important to be like equal strength on like the left arm versus the right arm, or the left leg versus the right leg, but I'd say approximate strength could indicate other could elucidate other like variables that you got going on. For example, like from a recovery standpoint, let's say that your PT clears you to like start working out again. They say like, start low volume and like don't really like push the intensities, but like add in some like progressions where like each week you add 5 pounds, etc. And you notice that like on the right leg, which was like the formerly injured leg versus the left leg, you can do 100 pounds on the left leg for 10 reps. But for the right leg, you have to drop the weight down to 70 pounds so that you can get 10 reps, so that you notice an overall deficit of 300 pounds of volume to be able to get to like, let's say that like RIR of like 5. So you just have 5 left in the tank because you're not trying to push it too hard, right? You're still trying to recover. One thing that would be good to note is that so that you can match the strength, because eventually if your goal was to get back to squatting, for example, and so that you don't have any type of compensation from one side to the next is you could deliberately match the volume on your left leg, because that's the stronger leg, to the volume of the right leg, for example. So you could do this from like a physique standpoint. A lot of people have done this in the past, where they're recovering from an injury. So you don't necessarily want to grow this bicep if this is an injured bicep. You want to get this bicep to be the same as this bicep. So how does this bicep catch up to this bicep? You put this bicep on maintenance and you slowly build back up this bicep. And through muscle memory, all these other like mechanisms, your satellite cells will over time like redevelop the architecture needed so that they can build to like a similar size. You know, if there was some type of like surgical intervention, it might never look the exact same just because the insertion points could be different. So that's something to think about from a physique standpoint. But from an overall performance standpoint, if you were cognizant of like your programming and you were trying to plan out, trying to minimize any type of compensations you might experience from like in a squat, for example, going back to the leg extension, it could be a viable strategy to match the volume with the uninjured leg to the volume of the injured leg, for example.
Yeah. And also too, what I've noticed, I think another benefit or two benefits of after like hearing what you said too. We could talk about it obviously on the next one or another time, but like you were saying, like it shows you sometimes like your weakness, like if for some reason like you had tightness in a squat, right, per se, then obviously you could do like the hip test, external internal rotation that we brought up from Squat University, but also too like another aspect of figuring out what's like the best way to like capture your injuries, capture your weaknesses is unilateral work. Like what if you hopped on a leg press, you did little to no weight because the sled already has weight, and for some reason you did the leg press, and it's pretty much like you're almost getting a squat. Obviously it's not like a squat like a barbell squat, but you put the push or pull, let the sled goes towards you. You're bringing the knee in, and then you're extending the knee, and you're like, oh wow, that's fine, but I've been feeling tightness when I squat. And then you do the right side, and then for some reason once you brought the knee towards you, you felt like maybe like a hip pinch or like something that just didn't feel right. So that's like another way too, like just in case if you don't have like someone to do like the external internal thing, like maybe it's something like in your hip on like the right side, but if for some reason you didn't do the unilateral work, like maybe you wouldn't have found that. But also too, like obviously there's a lot more other tests, but like that's like something that like I just thought about that right now. Like you can honestly kind of feel that out if you did like a single leg press, or if you did like a lunge, like if you did a body weight lunge right there because you were like squatting, maybe you didn't warm up all the way, or maybe you just felt that and you're like, well, maybe I should do some other things before I get into like this loaded squat. Also too, with unilateral, what I liked about it a lot is, you can discover a lot of like balancing acts within the lift. Like say if you do like single arm lat pull downs, and like I always love, because like say if you did like a lot of bilateral movements beforehand, like with like let's say the back, and then you go to like the single arm lat pull down, like I did the post. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, and you're all of a sudden you're like, I'm just doing my left arm, and then all of a sudden like, wow, this feels a lot different. This feels like a new movement. And when I got home the next day, I woke up and I'm like, wow, my lats feel like this different soreness. So it's like this weird like new like technology where you're like, oh shit, like if I did this here, what if I did like like tricep single arm, where I concentrated just on one arm and not two arms, and pushing the weight down, or like the leg press, or like lunges, or like single leg RDLs. Single leg RDLs, I'll say that's like one of the hardest unilateral workouts that I've done. I don't really like doing them so often because I feel like I look like a damn idiot when I'm doing them. Yeah. I think if you ever want to test your balance, try putting like 10, 15-pound dumbbells in each arm, or even one arm or both arms, and try to do like a single leg RDL. It'll put you in check like real quick. Even if you're really strong, like I'm talking like this is when I was deadlifting like almost 500 pounds, and I would almost fall over by using like a 30-pound kettlebell single leg RDL. So I think we'll just stop it there because I know Roman and I could kind of talk about it a lot. I didn't even realize we're at the 30-minute mark. But maybe we can just make a part 2 of this and kind of go over like what some of the things that Roman wants to go over, and then there's more things that I want to go over as well. So Roman, you want to close us out with anything, and then just close us out. Well, close us out all together. So whatever what's your statement? Of just close us out, buddy. You got this.
All right, so I want to give like a preview of next week. Next week we'll talk about like unilateral versus bilateral deficit. So there's a phenomena that is like encapsulated within that. So we'll talk to you about that next week. That'll be exciting. We'll talk about how you can get greater range of motion. What? Yes, greater range of motion with unilateral versus bilateral movements. We're going to talk about core stability. What? What did we talk to you about today? We talked to you about PR City. We talked about Antoine's vacation. We did a little bit of an update, and we gave a little teeny tiny teaser on unilateral movements. Gainz Podcast, we're on all the platforms. Check us out. Make sure to subscribe to Antoine's YouTube channel. Check up on Roman's YouTube channel. I'm sure it's linked somewhere in like the ether of the Gainz Podcast sphere. We're trying to get Roman so that he can put the / Roman Long for his URL. Let's get me to 1,000 subscribers. I'll just put out there, we're on all the podcasts. We appreciate you checking us out every single week. If you like the video, give us a like. If you love the channel, subscribe. Let us know if you have any comments in the comment section below. Love y'all. See you next week. Peace.